What's up, y'all? So I won't be on camera today, and I'm actually happy about that. Allergies have been killing me, and my right eye is sealed shut from all the pollen. And if I sound a little bit more nasally than usual, I'm sorry. But you know, on this channel, we talk about the preservation of video games a lot. I believe it's akin to art. We need to preserve these things. There's games that we've lost source code to that we will never see again. And with that said, Retro Revival is part of the channel, and we built this up just for the fact that we want to explore older consoles, see how we could bring old consoles into the current day, to the present time, with mods and different things. So I got this package from my buddy Iggy. You'll remember him from the Sega Genesis console that he sent me. And there's something in here that's near and dear to my heart. And I'll give you a backstory about it. So this console, I consider it the beginning of the end for Sega. Sega came out with this console, surprise dropped, surprise developers, retailers, everyone. It cost $400 on release, and it was met with a lot of confusion. They did a regional release, it wasn't worldwide. People didn't really know who the console was for. And this was, I call it the divorcee child of Sega. A lot of this had to do with Sega of America and Sega in Japan bickering and not deciding on what to do. Sega of America wanted to build a 3D console akin to the N64. Sega of Japan said, nope, 2D is still the way of the future. That's where we're sticking. And that ended up giving us this sort of disaster of a console that, again, near and dear to my heart. But there was a lot of issues. Developers didn't know how to make 3D games for this console. We didn't see a lot of 3D games come out towards the end. And really only Sega and a few developers really took advantage of the 3D capabilities. While most of the 2D games, which were a lot of my favorites, a lot of fighting games, a lot of arcade ports, did really well on this console and ran really well. And without further ado, let's unbox this and let's see what console I'm talking about. Some of you probably already know. Some of you probably like, yeah, stop yapping. Let's get to the good stuff. And off the bat, Iggy, let me lower this mic just a tad bit because I don't want it ruffling your ears. Steven, aka Iggy, who you'll meet pretty soon on the channel, he did an incredible job packaging this. This is better packaged than what I get from retailers. Bubble wrap, bunch of paper keeping this thing down. It was 11 pounds, and some of you might have guessed it's a Sega Saturn. I think this is one of the best D-pads in all of gaming. Great for fighting games, 6 buttons. Street Fighter aficionados know it. You had low, medium, fierce, low, medium, roundhouse. So he hooked me up with 2 controllers. HD Retrovision, so I could plug it into either a CRT or a flat screen. A Sorrow, and I'm going to explain what this is shortly. This is very important. Remember when I mentioned bringing old tech into modern day? This is a big part of it. It's I'll get into it in a bit. And then we'll talk about the games in a second. And then what I think is the most important part. And I'm going to adjust the camera and we'll get into it right after this small intro. Alright, thank God I could sit down. My allergies are killing me for real. So again, incredible packaging, bubble wrapped, and I really can't wait for y'all to see what he did to the console. So we're gonna have a multi-part series where it's all Iggy. He's going in depth and covering exactly what he did with the console. He did a bunch of soldering, and you'll see pictures here along while I unbox this and take the packaging off. He did a bunch of soldering, cleanup, modded. He replaced the pending battery, put in new batteries, a bunch of stuff, right? And then retensioned our cartridge port. And some of y'all like cartridge port. You didn't know the Saturn. This thing is beautiful. Cleaned it up I saw what it originally looked like, and he did a lot of cleanup work. Let's center this guy. All right. And so there's a cartridge slot in here, and that's where we're gonna get into this in a second. But the biggest thing he did was he recalibrated the laser. This thing had issues with the laser. He recalibrated it. He did all the work himself. You'll see in the video that he has prepared, and we'll put out on the channel in the coming days. It's going to be a multi-part series because there was a lot of work that he did, and there was actually a little boo-boo that he made, but he corrects it. So if you're interested in modding and replacing some of the parts on your Saturn, Iggy's video is going to be pretty crucial. We saw the controllers. We'll push these over here. But let's get into some of the games. Saturn games are notorious for being extremely expensive, just because a lot of them weren't printed. Full games, meaning complete in box, so hard to find. But look at this packaging. Dude even put these little tabs in there so that the disc wouldn't rattle out while in transit. And he resurfaced a lot of these. So we got Virtua Fighter Remix. Again, I think the Saturn was the king of fighters, no pun intended, but in terms of fighting games. X-Men Children of the Atom. I think this is the only game that really ran poorly on the Saturn, but the X-Men Versus series ran phenomenally well. Alpha 2. Some sweet bangers. And again, games for the Saturn are extremely expensive, especially the ones that I'm getting into now. So Night Warriors, Darkstalkers Revenge, another great fighting game on the Saturn. Astal. If you haven't played Astal, this is a sleeper. And you're probably watching, I'll probably put like a small screen with B-roll. You'll see it. Knights. Everyone knows Knights on the Saturn. This is what the Saturn was known for. The Saturn didn't really have a Sonic game. It had 3D Blast and Sonic R, not real sequels to Sonic 3. But the big hitters, Panzer Dragoon and then Panzer Dragoon 2. So Iggy, you know how I feel, man. We spoke about this. I sort of did a little sneak peek and looked at it. Thank you so much, man. This means the world to me. He knows my mom sort of got rid of my childhood collection. She didn't know what it was. She didn't know the value. I went away for college. She got rid of a lot of my stuff, so I've been slowly rebuilding it. But let's get into the Sorrow. Let's zoom in here. The Sorrow. And let's focus this a little bit. Let's see. Let's get into focus. We are in focus. All right. So the Sorrow is an ODE, an optical drive emulator. So it's going to fit into this cartridge slot. And what you could do is that you won't need physical CD media to use it. And you can load up a micro SD card with games. So you could download some games, load up a micro SD card, and pop this bad boy in. And, oh, he even retaped it. This guy's a savage. So Iggy actually went ahead and did that for us. He loaded this up with a ton of games. Shining Force 3, a bunch of games that I'm really looking forward to playing. And he got it prepped, sealed it back up for us. Wow, this guy always goes the extra mile. Him and I joke that when we retire, we're gonna open up our own like game repair shop that turns into like a adults only bar hangout lounge on Fridays where you can come in and game. That's our joke. That's our little thing that we want to do. So yep, he loaded up a 512. Oh, let's see if we can get that into focus. There it is, 512 gigabytes on a micro SD. He loaded that up for us, full of games. So what I'll do here this weekend is I'll pop this guy in. You load up from the main menu. It has its own little menu. You load up, and you can play games right off this guy without needing the actual disc in there. And it's a big deal because if you go on eBay, if you go anywhere online, any of the online retailers, you'll see that Saturn games, complete in box or just a disc, are extremely expensive. But yeah, this is the unboxing. Again, like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications, because the videos that Iggy has prepared, you can't miss them. They're do not miss videos. They go over every detail of what he did. You'll watch him solder, you'll watch him clean stuff up, apply flux, you'll watch him retension the cartridge slots, recalibrate a lens, and he goes step by step, extremely thorough. You saw his packaging. You saw how he packaged up the Saturn, so you know the guy has a keen eye for detail. But yeah, again, like, subscribe, click on those bells for the notifications. I appreciate y'all. I can't wait to get this going. And let us know in the comments, what are some of your favorite Saturn games? What are some of the memories you remember about the Saturn? I remember it was expensive, and Sega Japan, Sega of America were fighting, and they couldn't figure out what to do. And then Sony came and ate everyone's lunch with the PlayStation. I always consider this the beginning of the end for Sega, but it's one of my favorite consoles with some of the sleeper hits of the 90s. But yeah, appreciate y'all for being here. Peace.